when we go like all the way back to when you was leaving sixth form, you was leaving Bolton right at the end of sixth form. Was that the case? And you was looking at University of North Carolina to go and hopefully pay your way to the MLS. Was it? Was that what you was thinking?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was doing well at Bolton at the time. I was training with the first team as when I was 18, 19. That was when they were in the championship. Things were going well. But unfortunately, Bolton were going through various financial difficulties or difficulties off the field. And it became quite evident that it was going to be a struggle to get a contract there. And even if I managed to get one, would it be worth taking for non-footballing reasons mainly, rather than anything based off how well I was doing? It was more things that were going on off the field. So I started looking in January that year at the option of going to an American university, whereby you've still got that pathway into MLS. I'd seen Jack Harrison move out there, who's obviously playing at Leeds now. Yeah. He's from Bolton, and I'd seen him do that because I remember him leaving Manchester United. We always played against each other. We were the same age group. And if you don't manage to pave your way into the MLS, you end up with a degree paid for. And it just looked like a great opportunity and experience. And I'd applied to various different universities, got a great offer from a lovely university, which was University of North Carolina at Charlotte. And one of their selling points was how you get Premier League clubs over during pre-seasons training at their facilities when they're doing the tour of the States.
Yeah.
And my first pre-season with the first team, we ended up actually training at that university, and I met all the coaches that I had met previously when I'd accepted the scholarship and been out there to visit and start signing forms for my classes and my dorm and things like that. So that was the plan. And then weeks before it, Liverpool got in touch and said, we've been watching that last season. We've noticed he's not at Bolton anymore. Do you want to come out to Germany with us? We're going for a pre-season tour, 23s. Do you want to go out to Germany with us and we'll have a look at him? So I did that, and then came back and I had a little chat with him. They said, what's your plan? What are you doing? Are you visiting the university? I said, no, on Thursday I fly there, and then I'm there for 4 years studying and playing football. And they said, all right, we'll be in touch. And I drove home from Liverpool, and by the time I got home, my dad had a phone call saying that they wanted to give me a 2-year professional contract.
That's mad. It's crazy.
Yeah, which obviously I was over the moon about. And it's funny because my dad said, like, it's your decision. You tell me what you think. Me and your mum aren't going to try and influence your decision. It's all up to you. So I had to sort of sit there and pretend to think about it because I know that my mum's always wanted me to keep up with my studies. So I had to sit there and pretend that I was considering continuing to go out to America. But in reality, as soon as he said that, I knew I was going to sign the deal. And when I told him that, he said, I'm glad you've made that decision because I think you would have regretted it otherwise. And I think I would too, with the way things have panned out so far.
Yeah, and you know, your dad obviously had a big career in football at Bolton as well. So how much are you still looking for advice from him? Or is it just, like you said, he'll kind of let you find your own path as well?
So my dad's always been the same in that, like, he's never been one to shout at me while I'm playing or shout from the sidelines, which you can get with some parents when you watch the kids playing football. And he's never put any pressure on me to play. It's always been if I'm enjoying it and if that's what I want to do. And after every game, he'll always say, what do you think first? And I'll give this has gone on since I was 7 or 8, probably. Ask me what I thought of how I did, and then I'll give my sort of verdict, and then he'll say he agrees or add something to it, or in some cases he might completely disagree. But I've always sought advice from him, and he's always been really good with giving it to me. Never told me exactly what to do, but let me figure it out for myself, whilst just sort of like leading me along the right path, which I'll always be grateful to him for, because it's been massive in getting me to where I am now.
And when you compare that first game at Anfield against Everton to making your debut in this coronavirus age now, because I've spoke to a lot of athletes, whether it's been in boxing or rugby, having to compete in front of no crowds, and from the most part, they've said that it's weird having not to draw energy from that fan base, but it overall it doesn't have an effect on performance. There's still the same task at hand. What's it been like for you?
So we were probably the first to start playing games without fans over when I was out in Germany.
Right.
I mean, I was asked about this at the time, before we did it, and I said then that we've probably played more games without fans, or I certainly have anyway in my life, than with fans. So it's not something that foreign to me or unfamiliar. I would say that in certain aspects you lose out. So obviously we'd all much prefer to have the fans in the stadium, just for the atmosphere and support. And it's sad that they can't be there, because we know how much it means to them to be able to go and watch the game, and it's a huge part of people's lives. If you're talking about influence on performance, I think overall, I would say in general, you notice it as you walk out onto the pitch. Usually there's a big buzz around the stadium, but then once the whistle goes, whether there's a crowd full or not, you're quite zoned into the game. There's just certain moments where you do notice the fans aren't there. If there's a nasty tackle, you don't hear the uproar. If there's a goal that goes in, you don't hear the fan reaction. Certain things like that, you don't notice it, or you don't hear it, and you do notice the lack of fans. And it is sad in those moments, because those are the moments where like you feel the sort of energy in the stadium, and it gives you a real buzz. And then in terms of influences on performance, in some aspects, you might ease the pressure, because if you're not doing so well and fans are getting onto you, you don't have that. But then at the same time, you might also lose out, because fans can give you a massive boost when you need it. I've seen that happen. One example I would give of that is the Barcelona game at Anfield. I've never seen an atmosphere like that, and you could just tell from the atmosphere and the noise in the stadium that it was going to be a great day, and the team gained a lot from that. So that's one example of, if there weren't fans in the stadium, would it have been the same sort of occasion?
When you mentioned that Barcelona game, there's another thing that I wanted to get into as well. You've been present at probably three of the biggest games in the club's recent history. It's two Champions League finals, and obviously the final that they won, and the Barcelona game. So in terms of, you've made your Premier League debut, you played in the FA Cup now, you've got there, but beforehand to having been where you are now, to have witnessed those sorts of stages, to have felt the Champions League trophy in your hands, how mental was that when looking back from where you've come from now? I can't fathom what that could be like. I can't imagine.
So the first Champions League final was probably the most surreal of them all, to be honest, because I'd only just started training with the first team at that point. They'd had quite a few injuries, so I was still quite fresh at Melwood at that stage. So a lot happened in a short amount of time, and all of a sudden I'm in Kiev watching the Champions League final, and walking past Ronaldo in the tunnel, and it just, a lot happened all of a sudden. It's sort of like a few weeks ago I was training at Kirby with the under-23s, and now I'm there. but like you say, just unbelievable occasions. Obviously, the Kiev one was horrible, and but then the Madrid night was just unbelievable. I mean, it's hard to sort of put it into words without doing it justice as to how huge it was as an occasion, but to have been able to witness those games in the Barcelona, so the Madrid game and the Barcelona game, I'm just so grateful that was there. I would say after the Madrid one, seeing them all celebrate and seeing them winning that trophy was really sort of motivational for me, because even though I was there as like a squad member and someone who'd been training with that team that year, I hadn't really contributed to that. And I would never say that I had done, or never dream of saying I was a Champions League winner because I was training with the team. Didn't sit on the bench once, sort of thing. I had no contribution towards that. So to see them win it and celebrate with the fans and celebrate in the dressing room, and just how amazing it looked, it sort of was like, yeah, I want a piece of that myself, sort of thing. So I'd say that's probably the main impact that of those nights that had on me was it just made me want to experience something like that.
And obviously, it goes without saying that Liverpool, one of the biggest fan bases globally. When you look at those instances where you've been asked for pictures or autographs on those pre-season tours, or when you've been playing for Stuttgart, what is that first initial instance like when a fan asks for a picture or an autograph, and how do you feel do it now? It must have been really weird.
When it first happened, really strange. Takes a bit getting used to, for sure. But then, the more it happens, the more you get used to it. I can understand it as well, because I was that person asking for pictures and autographs when I was a kid too. So I get it. I was exactly the same, but for it to be you being asked, obviously, still a bit surreal, but the more it happens, the more you get used to it, I would say.
Yeah, and then speaking of surreal as well, there, I'm sure you'll have been playing a lot of FIFA when you were younger as well. To see your picture on FIFA as well, must be another one. Be like, that's not bad at all, is it?
To be fair, I didn't play FIFA loads when I was young, because I was usually outside playing it.
Playing. Fair enough.
In real life, rather than on the computer or on the PlayStation. Sorry,
Yeah.
But I would say when I first made it onto FIFA,
that
was probably the first FIFA I bought in a long time.
Yeah.
All right. I had a few shots with myself, and then turned it off because I was spraying the ball all over the place. So I probably won't get another one until my guy's a bit better.